A growing number of studies are highlighting a dangerous synergy between ultra-processed food consumption, sleep deprivation, and late-night snacking in adolescents and young adults. Individually, each factor carries its own health risks, but when combined, they create a metabolic and behavioral environment that significantly undermines long-term health. For youth already juggling school, work, social pressures, and extracurricular commitments, this combination may quietly set the stage for chronic health problems that persist into adulthood. Sleep deprivation is increasingly common among adolescents and young adults, driven by academic demands, social media, late-night screen use, and irregular schedules. Sleep plays a critical role in regulating hormones that control appetite, glucose metabolism, and energy balance. When sleep is restricted, levels of ghrelin, the hunger-stimulating hormone, rise, while leptin, the hormone that signals satiety, declines. This hormonal imbalance makes young people more likely to overconsume calories, especially those from highly palatable, easily accessible ultra-processed foods. The lack of restorative sleep also heightens stress responses, amplifying cortisol release, which in turn promotes fat storage, particularly visceral fat, and worsens insulin sensitivity. Ultra-processed foods are uniquely positioned to exploit these vulnerabilities. They are engineered for maximum palatability, high in sugar, refined starches, salt, and industrial fats, and provide rapid sensory gratification. Late at night, when cognitive control is already diminished by fatigue, youth are far more susceptible to impulsive eating. What might have been a controlled snack in the afternoon can escalate into a calorie-dense binge under sleep-deprived conditions. This is not just a matter of overeating. The combination of rapid glucose spikes and disrupted hormonal signals creates a metabolic environment that favors fat storage, insulin resistance, and long-term weight gain. The behavioral reinforcement is equally concerning. Late-night snacking becomes psychologically paired with relief from fatigue, stress, or boredom, creating habitual associations that can persist long-term. The brain's reward pathways are sensitized by ultra-processed foods, particularly when consumed during periods of vulnerability such as late-night wakefulness. Over time, these behaviors can become ingrained, establishing patterns of eating that are misaligned with hunger and satiety signals. The consequence is a vicious cycle. Sleep deprivation drives cravings. Ultra-processed foods satisfy those cravings, but impair metabolic and hormonal balance, and the resulting energy dysregulation further disrupts sleep quality. This combination also has subtle but serious effects on circadian rhythms. Consuming calorie-dense, high-sugar foods late at night can interfere with melatonin production and delay sleep onset. Disrupted circadian timing exacerbates insulin resistance, alters lipid metabolism, and increases inflammatory signaling. For adolescents and young adults, whose brains and endocrine systems are still maturing, these disruptions can have lasting effects on metabolic programming, setting the stage for obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, and chronic low-grade inflammation. The environmental and social context magnifies the risk. Many youth have easy access to ultra-processed snacks at home, in dorms, or through 24-hour convenience stores. Social norms often reinforce late-night eating. Study groups, gaming sessions, and online interactions frequently coincide with the availability of sugary or salty snacks. Marketing and packaging further enhance the appeal, presenting ultra-processed foods as comforting, convenient, and rewarding. For sleep-deprived youth, the combination of accessibility, reward, and habit creates nearly irresistible pressure to consume these products at night, further compounding metabolic risk. The long-term implications are alarming. Repeated cycles of sleep deprivation and late-night ultra-processed food consumption can permanently alter appetite regulation, insulin sensitivity, and fat storage patterns. Youth who adopt these habits are more likely to carry them into adulthood, making metabolic disorders, chronic inflammation, and obesity more likely. Even intermittent exposure can have cumulative effects because both sleep disruption and hyperpalatable food consumption reinforce each other neurologically and hormonally. What begins as a seemingly minor lifestyle choice, a late-night snack after a study session, can quietly escalate into a persistent metabolic burden with lifelong consequences. The warning is clear. The intersection of ultra-processed diets, sleep deprivation, and late-night snacking is not trivial. Each factor magnifies the others, creating a self-reinforcing cycle that undermines hormonal regulation, appetite control, and metabolic health. For youth who are particularly sensitive to both neural reward pathways and circadian disruption, this combination represents a high-risk scenario that can accelerate weight gain, impair glucose regulation, and increase long-term disease susceptibility. Recognizing the dangers of this trifecta is essential because the consequences are cumulative, largely invisible in the short term, and potentially permanent if these patterns become habitual during critical developmental periods.